Standard 5th, subject English, lesson number 22, a book review. Before I start this lesson, I would like to give you short introduction related to this lesson. Now, dear children, what is book review? A book review is nothing but the views of the reader about the certain book which we read. The reader judges the book on its content and style and give its view about the book. Now, in this lesson, the book review is the George Secret Key to the Universe, authored by Louis Hawking and Stephen Hawking. The book has beautiful sketches by Gary Parsons. The main characters are George, Eric, Annie, and the Cosmo, and a selfish, angry scientist. The book is written like a story for children to enjoy. So this was the short introduction related to this lesson. Now you can see the subparagraph of the lesson. Here I start. George's secret key to the universe. George dad is an ardent. Now what is mean by ardent? Ardent means very enthusiastic. So his dad was very enthusiastic, very ardent environmentalist. Now what is mean by environmentalist? A person who is convinced about protecting the environment. So his dad was very convinced, enthusiastic to protect the environment anyhow. In fact, both his parents are convinced. Now, what is meant by convinced? Convinced means completely certain about something. So they have completely decided to anyhow to protect the environment. That modern invention of science and technology have caused a lot of damage. Damage means destroy on the earth. So their parents thinking was like that because of the invention of science and technology, many lost of damages on the earth has happened because of this science and technology. They are committed. Now what is meant by committed? Committed means willing to work hard and give your time and energy to something, believe strongly in something. So they are committing to the cause of saving the planet. So they have put in lots of efforts to protect the planet. They use a bicycle instead of car. So they were not using, the George parent was not using car, they were using bicycle instead of car. There is ban on TV and computer in their house. Now what is mean by ban means something has stopped. So in their house, TV and computer was banned. They were not using such kind of electronic machines. They do not buy things like bread and biscuits. So they do not buy bread and biscuits. They eat only vegetarian and home cooked food. So they only eat the green vegetarian food which is made only at home. They even use candles to light the house to avoid using electricity. So they were so pretending to not to use the technology. So they were avoiding all this facility, and they were even not using the electricity. They were using only candles at house to avoid to use electricity. Poor George has to suffer a lot of jeering. Jeering means making rude and mocking remarks or making fun of someone. So George has to suffer all this thing. And ridicule. Ridicule means unkind comment that make fun of somebody, something, or make them look silly. So your George friend make the fun of George because of all this thing. So from his friend because of all these things. So here the George has to suffer many comments and many mocking remarks from his friend. Let's move to the next paragraph of the lesson. Actually, Jaws doesn't think that either the TV or the computer is a bad thing. So Jaws thinking was like that he think positively. He think while using TV or computer is not any bad thing. He has tried to tell his parents that it's possible to save the earth using the computers and the net. So George always tried to explain his parents that we can also save earth while using the net and computer. But no, in their house there can't be any discussion on that issue. So when he tried to explain his parents, then parents stopped. There were no discussion on this topic. George always liked to know why, and George always liked to know why, but who is to answer his question? And there was no one to answer his questions. His parents thinks that he is still too young, too small to understand the global issues. Global means relating to the whole world, worldwide. So here his parents' thinking was like that George is very young, very small to understand all such kind of issue. Let's move to the next sub paragraph of the lesson. One day, however, George unexpectedly means in a way that was not expected or regarded as likely. So he was unexpected and acquires new friend and next door neighbor. So when George next day saw, he was unexpected the new friend next to her door neighbor Annie's father Eric is a brilliant scientist. So any father was a brilliant scientist and ever willing to answer all of George's question, and he was always happy to answer all the question of George. Eric has built a super intelligent computer, and Eric, who was scientist, he has built a super intelligent computer named Cosmo. Now he has built a computer whose name was Cosmo. Cosmo has incredible means unbelievable or impossible to believe. So Cosmo has incredible power. It can literally open windows, and it can literally open the windows on universe. It can open the window of universe and take you to any planet, and it can take you to any planet. For example, it has given star, comet, and even to a black hole. And of course Cosmo can also bring you back from there. So it can take you certain places, for example star, comet, to any planet. Even it you take you to a black hole, and it can bring back to from that place where you are. However, Cosmo depends entirely on the information that is filled into it by people. So it totally depend on the information which you fill in that computer. So it will take you proper to that place, but it is totally depend to the information which you fill in the computer. Let's move to the next sub paragraph of the lesson. Like Ari, who do the research and thinking that can make Cosmo work. So Eric, who was the brilliant scientist, he always done research and thinking how to make Cosmo work in the proper place. He was always doing research. Science can be used for a good cause, and science can be used for a good thing, for a good cause, and a group of good scientists like Eric, and it can be used in a group of good scientists like Eric. He was a very good and brilliant scientist, have vowed to use it for people's welfare. Welfare means the health and happiness of an individual or a group. So Eric always use his technology to help for the other people welfare. Unfortunately, there is one odd angry scientist, and there was one odd angry scientist who want to use science for his own selfish motives. Motives means reason. So he was to use all the scientist technology only for his own motives. He is planning to steal. Steal means to rob. So he was planning to steal Cosmo and all of Eric research, so that he can establish his own rule on another planet. So this old and odd scientist was planning to rob the Cosmo and all the Eric research, so that he can establish his own rule on the another planet. So he was only thinking about himself, the old and old scientist, that he can use all the technology for himself only. Dear children, hope you all understood the first part of this lesson. Thank you.